TLC's got 8 and Sean Combs 5 to 10.
Of all the people who have predicted that Diddy was going to end up in jail at some point, no one would have expected it from Rosie O'Donnell. But that's exactly what happened. According to Entertainment Tonight, all the way back in 2000, Rosie was hinting that Diddy was going to go down for his crimes. However, the way that she made the prediction made it seem like even she didn't believe that it was going to happen. So what exactly did she say? Well, it all had to do with a behind-the-scenes clip that Rosie shot for her then talk show. She had the famous girl group TLC on the show, and they were hanging out backstage with her. Rosie had a joke for them, and she began by saying that there were a lot of nominations for the Grammys that year. She continued, saying that Lauryn Hill had 4 nominations, TLC had 8, and Sean Combs had 5 to 10, referencing that Diddy was likely going to receive 5 to 10 years in jail. The girls laughed and covered their faces in shock. To be honest, they looked a little nervous too, as if laughing at the joke might get them into trouble. Considering that they are in the music industry, and Diddy eventually got a lot of control over the industry, it makes sense why they might not have wanted to stir the pot and cause drama. Rosie had one more joke though, adding that she didn't want to be mean to him since he was a nice guy and he could sing. Once more, the girls laughed, but also hid their faces as if they didn't want anyone to see that they were laughing. Sing Sing is a reference to a correctional facility in Ossining, New York. She then clapped her hand over her mouth as if she had said something that she wasn't supposed to say, further leaning into the joke. Now, all the way back in 2000, Diddy was causing some problems, but these jokes weren't referencing the crimes he's recently been arrested for. Back then, the police were actually looking at him after he allegedly harmed a woman with a firearm at a nightclub. He proclaimed his innocence throughout the whole thing, and he was eventually acquitted too. An interesting note is that he was dating Jennifer Lopez at the time. According to some fans, JLo, who was also at the nightclub when the incident happened, was the one who smuggled in the firearm for him to use. So she knew the truth, even though she never said anything against him. That's all just speculation, but she's kept pretty far away from him since their breakup. In fact, during one episode of The Wendy Williams Show, Wendy had JLo on as a guest, and she asked her if she was ever going to reignite things with Diddy. Wendy added that she thought that they looked cute together. Funny enough, JLo's mom was in the audience, and when the camera panned to her, she looked horrified at the idea of her daughter going back to Diddy. In fact, she looked as though she was ready to jump on that stage and start fighting someone. JLo quickly confirmed that she was not going to get back with Diddy, and she seemed very eager to move past the subject. Was it because she knew some of the stuff that Diddy had gotten himself involved in? Some have also wondered the same thing about Rosie since she made that joke. Now, when it comes to Rosie, she does have a closer link to Diddy than most realize. She used to be his neighbor back in Miami. Rosie did a tell-all about her experience living as his neighbor in a TikTok video. It was pretty clear from her video that she was disturbed after recalling some of the things she had witnessed as his neighbor. She shared that she wanted to talk about her experience at the time because she had seen the news about Diddy's arrest. Then she said that she used to live on Star Island next to him, and he had actually invited her and her family to his New Year's Eve party. She said that even though she had only met him once, he still wanted her to come to this party. Apparently, everyone was told to wear white, but she didn't get the memo. So she and her kids wore whatever they wanted, which happened to be sweatpants, and they headed over to the party. There was a big professional blow-up of an adult beverage bottle outside, and they had professional cameramen taking pictures of people standing there. Rosie thought that the adult beverage company was likely sponsoring the party, so they took some pictures in front of the big bottle and then headed toward the gate to get inside the party. The guard, however, wouldn't let them in. Rosie tried to explain that Diddy had invited them. Apparently, her daughter had run into him on the street and they had talked, and that's how she got the invite. Now, let me pause the story right there, because if the allegations against Diddy are true, then it's terrifying to think that he spoke to anyone's daughter. Did Diddy invite Rosie over because he took a liking to her daughter? It's a scary thought. Anyway, the guard refused to let them into the party because they were all wearing sweatpants and not white clothes. So they didn't go to the party, which was probably a good thing at the end of the day. Now, apparently, Diddy heard that Rosie couldn't get into the party, so he called her up the next day and apologized. In order to make amends, he bought the Regal Cinema Theater chain for the day. He told her that she could take her family to see any movie they wanted at any theater whenever they wanted. She said that it was such an extraordinary gesture from someone she had talked to once before and never talked to again after the fact. After hearing the news, Rosie admitted that she was shocked that these were real allegations against Diddy. She also admitted that she was a little bit naive, but the thing that really surprised her was how Diddy could do those things and still be a public person. It's one thing to commit horrible crimes and be a private person because it's less likely that you're going to get caught. However, as a public person, Diddy is being followed around by paparazzi all the time. How was it that no one had seen anything? Rosie asked some really good questions too. She wondered if Diddy had never felt the footsteps of law enforcement behind him. If not, was it because he had gotten so big in power in the music industry? She also compared him to Harvey Weinstein. She never thought that Harvey was harming women because he always had people around him. A lot of people would have had to participate in order for Harvey to do what he had done. Was Diddy in the same category? Did he just have so much power and so many people under his control that he was able to get away with anything? Rosie was also just as disturbed as the rest of us when she heard that Diddy had 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his home. She admitted that she'd be thinking about that for a while. She called the whole thing disturbing, and considering that she was living next to the guy with her daughter within easy reach, that's even more disturbing. Now, Rosie hasn't been the only celebrity to talk about Diddy, although she is one of the few reacting to the news. Noticeably, a lot of people in Hollywood are pretty quiet about the allegations he's currently facing. Is it because they were invited to a party and saw some things they don't want to talk about? Did they participate? As for those who have predicted Diddy's downfall, 50 Cent and Eminem both mentioned that he was a bad guy. 50 Cent in particular has been speaking out against Diddy for decades. Although it may have started because of the East Coast versus West Coast rap rivalry, 50 Cent definitely either saw or heard some things about Diddy that convinced him that Diddy was a criminal. Diddy is currently in jail and awaiting trial, with any attempts to set bail shut down by judges involved in his case. So if the trial moves forward and Diddy is found guilty, Rosie's prediction of Diddy serving between 5 and 10 years may be a little low. He may end up serving 15 years to life in prison. But anyway, what do you guys think about all this? Why do you think celebrities have been quiet about Diddy's allegations? Do you agree with Rosie about Diddy being as powerful as Harvey? Let me know in the comments below.